Hello and welcome to the WA Football Commission's Metro North Bouncedown for modified team managers in the Year 3s to 6 competitions. Whether you are new to the role or come with years of experience, today's session is designed to provide team managers with the information they need for the upcoming season. This information is for Metro North, which includes competitions in the Claremont, Subiaco and West Perth districts. The WA Football Commission has a number of staff members available in Metro North to assist clubs. Our staff include Head of Competitions Brad Gardner, Competitions Team Leader Kathy Monk, Competitions Administrators Sandy Swift and Amy Crane, Coaching Coordinator Baker Denneman, and our Participation Officers for the Claremont District is Alex Zilberti, for Subiaco District is Corey Dullard, and for the West Perth District it's Mitch Dupanis. The team manager is a vitally important role as you are the primary point of contact for your team. As manager, you are responsible for ensuring the welfare of umpires at matches, dealing with off-field football matters, arranging the required volunteers for games, managing player welfare and providing administrative support to your team and club. We thank you for taking on this essential role for your team. Let's begin with our rules and regulations. Each year, the WA Football Commission releases a document that contains all the rules, regulations and policies that govern our competitions. This document can be found on the WA Football website. This document is an essential item for all team managers, and you should keep a copy of this document in an easy-to-find location so you are able to answer any questions from players, parents, volunteers or coaches. The Rules and Regulations document outlines a number of policies, many of which you should familiarise yourself with prior to the season beginning, so that you can confidently answer questions like, do we still play when there's thunder and lightning? What happens if someone is vilified on the field? What if someone makes an inappropriate comment or is bullied on social media? Also, can I play for another team within my club in the same age group? Whilst we won't go through every policy today in its entirety, we will cover some elements but recommend you take the time to read through each of them prior to round one. One of the most important parts of the Rules and Regulations document is the section on the spirit of junior football. This section outlines that every participant needs to understand that junior football in Western Australia is delivered to the community with the spirit of the game in mind. The spirit of junior football is designed to maximise the enjoyment and development of junior footballers by providing our children with a game environment that is safe, fun and fair. We ensure the spirit of junior football is obtained by upholding, promoting and protecting the rules and regulations, laws of the game, codes of conduct and spirit of the game. Above all, everybody involved in junior football must not engage in conduct which is unbecoming or likely to prejudice the interest or reputation of junior football or bring the game of football into disrepute. Encompassing the spirit of junior football is our equal opportunity policy. Under this policy, the coach is required to ensure all players, regardless of their age, size, gender, ability or the competition they are playing in, are given an equal opportunity to play in a variety of positions on the field. All players must also play at least 60% of a game each week. This is important in allowing players to gain experience and learn and develop the skills of each position. Adhering to this policy and its intent ensures all players and parents feel they are getting a fair go and are part of the team, enhancing overall participation in junior football. This part of the equal opportunity policy is monitored by teams utilising a player rotation app. Each week, you will need to assign a volunteer from within your team to operate the interchange app that records when players are on the field and when they are on the bench. We will cover this a little bit later. Each year, we receive numerous queries regarding the rules surrounding player eligibility and moving between teams. Please be aware that the following applies. Players may only play for one team in their correct age group. Players are permitted to play up into a higher age group as long as it is by no more than 1 year. This means a Year 4 player can play up to a Year 5 team, but not a Year 6 team. For our split age group competitions, this means a Year 4 player can play up to a Year 5-6 team, but a Year 3 player is not permitted to do so. If playing up, players can play for more than one team in the older age group. This has changed from previous seasons and allows more flexibility for clubs and teams. Remember that players may only play up on a temporary basis a maximum of 4 times. Once they play their 5th game for the older age group, they must remain with that team for the rest of the season and are unable to return to their correct age group until the following year. If a player is going to move up to an older age group, your club registrar must submit a request prior to the 5th game being played, nominating which team the player will stay in for the remainder of the season. It is important to note that Auskickers are not permitted to play in junior football. This means Year 2 players or younger cannot play up into a Year 3 or older team under any circumstances. Please ensure players, parents and coaches are aware of the rules as penalties may apply for any breach of the player eligibility rules. Another important game day policy is the even up policy. This policy outlines that teams playing one another must be even on the field at all times. This is achieved by sending players from one team to play for the opposition. It is important to note that you only have to even up on the field. You do not need to provide players so the opposition has a bench. Players that are sent to the opposition to play must be swapped each quarter and must give their full effort while playing. Players seen not to be giving their full effort whilst playing for the opposition can be awarded a yellow card. Players sent to the opposition are to either turn their jumpers inside out or wear a spare jumper provided by the opposition team. It is important to note that the even up rule is in place at all times. This means if you are not currently in an even up situation but the opposition team has no bench and one of their players leaves the field due to an injury, your team must immediately remove a player to ensure the teams are even on the field. The player removed should be the closest player to the interchange area to ensure teams are even as quickly as possible. The only exemption to the even up rule is when the opposition is awarded a yellow or red card and has no player on the bench to replace them. In this scenario, you are not required to send an additional player to play for the opposition. It is also important to familiarise yourself with the mercy rule in section 51. As outlined in the spirit of junior football, it is important not to focus on winning at all costs. If it is clear that one team is dominating another during a game, both teams should work together to equalise teams however possible. This may mean adjusting player positions on the field, asking players to kick on their non-dominant foot, or asking your defenders to simply punch the ball in a contest rather than marking the ball. These simple changes to a game play should be explained to players in a way to increase player development and ensure the game is enjoyable for all players on both teams. Coaches do not need to wait until the margin is 60 points plus to implement this policy. Earlier implementation makes a better game for all players. Unfortunately, there are times within our game where players can be injured and a stretcher is needed. When a player is injured, it can be a stressful time, so by understanding the policy, you can help keep your players and families remain calm. Most importantly, when a player is injured, only authorised persons are permitted to enter the field of play to assist the player. This means only the first aider, runner, or players already on the field that can approach the injured player. We understand it can be a difficult time for families watching, but please ensure that they know they are not able just to run onto the field to assist their child. As we have seen in the past, incidents across junior football, whilst the parents' intention may be to approach their child, parents from the opposition team may believe their child is now being approached by an adult, and then they also enter the field. This can result in an escalation and potentially volatile situation. For this reason, there are heavy penalties for unauthorised adults entering the field of play, which start from 4 to 16 match bans. If a player is removed from the field of play by a stretcher, then they are not able to take any further part in the game. If a player is assisted from the field in any other way, it is important to note that they are not considered to have been stretchered off and may return to play, but only if the first aider clears them to return. Protective equipment. The WA Football Commission understands that due to the nature of our sport, parents and players may want to take certain safety measures to ensure players are protected while participating in training and matches. In doing this, we must ensure that all protective equipment is suitable for football and that the safety of all participants is considered. Some items do not require any approval, such as mouthguards, standard helmets and glasses, provided they are plastic and have a strap to hold them in place. We strongly recommend that every player wears a mouthguard at training and during matches. Some items will not be permitted to be worn, such as a plaster cast or jewellery. The only exception to jewellery is a medic alert bracelet, which must be taped and marked with medic. No other jewellery can be taped up. The list of protective equipment items is long and vast, and some of the most common items that players request to wear are diabetic pumps and monitors, shin guards, braces, kidney guards. The application for approval to wear these items is quick and easy. If you have a player who is seeking permission to wear any protective items, please speak to your club registrar, who will submit the form on behalf of the player along with a photo of the requested equipment. Please note, no application is required again for wearing glasses, although they must have plastic lenses, plastic frames and be secured with a band. This is a change from season 2023. Undergarments. In 2024, approval will again not be required for any short or long length undergarments such as skins in any colour. We understand that our younger players are often playing in wintry conditions early in the morning or at night and can want to wear the undergarments to provide extra warmth and protection from the weather. Please note that the only stipulation to undergarments is that hoodies, jumpers, jackets and tracksuit pants with pockets are not permitted to be worn as they pose safety risks to other players. Please speak with your club registrar if you have any queries. Rule refresher. The rules of our game are ever evolving, and back in 2021, junior community football adopted the same rules as the AFL with some modifications. These rules will continue in season 2024. These include the protected space for kick-ins, standing the mark, waiting for the flags, following a behind. The runners are again not permitted in season 2024, and players need to bring their own water bottles. Please encourage good hydration before and after the game, as well as during breaks and the interchange during the game. If your team does not have a bench, players can approach the boundary line without leaving the field to have a quick water break. Concussion protocols. All clubs and teams must treat concussion and head injuries with the utmost importance to ensure player well-being. Any player who suffers a head knock at a match should be immediately removed from the field and assessed for signs of concussion by using the free Head Check app. A reminder that the first aider has the final say as to whether a player can return to the field and should not be pressured into allowing players to return to the game. When in doubt, sit them out. Returning to play after concussions. Any suspected concussion must be reported to the WAFC by your club. All players with suspected concussion must seek an urgent medical assessment with a registered medical doctor. Once a concussion has been confirmed, the player and family should be made aware of the WAFC's concussion policy and the mandated 21-day grading loaded program outlined by the WAFC. Please remember that the 21 days is not a standard wait and play. It is the minimum requirement, and all concussions should be treated as unique and assessed independently. Any player with a history of concussion or reoccurrence of symptoms should have a more conservative approach adopted. Returning to play after concussion. Multiple concussions in a season. If a player receives a second concussion in a season, then the player must be assessed by a doctor or medical practitioner who specialises in concussion management and must be medically cleared by them in order to return to training or play. The WAFC can assist clubs and families in identifying these doctors who specialise in the field of concussion. If a player receives a third concussion within a season, combined across any competition, i.e. club, school football, AFL 9s, etc., then it is highly recommended by the WAFC that the player does not play for the remainder of the season and should continue to be assessed, monitored by a medical specialist in concussion management. Please visit WA Football to view the full policy. 2024 season. As you should be aware, the registration system across the country has migrated to Play HQ. Once you've registered as a team manager, your club will provide you with access to your team. Please log into your account at playhq.com to access your team, fixtures and squad. Each week, as team manager, you will be required to organise a number of volunteers who will help ensure the match runs smoothly. These volunteers are identified by wearing a vest on game day. In 2022, some of these vest colours changed and are being phased in over a 3-year period, so both colours will be allowed in 2024 season. The new interchange vest has been introduced for the 2024 season, and this is being rolled out over a 2-year period. Game times across Metro North will be standardised to assist umpires to be allocated to games more closely correlated to their skill level and assist clubs for play-ups in case of low team numbers. Friday nights are predominantly fixtured with our female competitions, with the younger age groups playing in the earlier time slot and the older teams in the later time slot. Sundays are predominantly fixtured with our mixed and male competitions, again with the younger age groups fixtured in the early time slots and older ages in the later time slots. Year 3 to 4 females and 5 to 6 females may also be fixtured to play on Sunday morning. While the comps team will endeavour to fixture games within these standard time slots, there will be times when games are played outside of these times. This may be due to an oval or umpire availability, or it may be because your club has requested a change in playing day or time for a special fixture. If for any reason your team is unavailable to play a certain fixture, please let your club registrar know as soon as possible. The following rules will continue for the 2024 season. Runners must be 18 years or older. This is because, as well as delivering messages from the coach, the runner's purpose is to de-escalate any on-field tensions from their players and potentially remove players from the field if required. In these situations, emotional maturity is required, with underage participants as runners less likely to have this maturity. Team numbers in modified ages allow for an unlimited number of players on the bench, and 12 aside for Year 3 and 3-4, and 15 aside for Year 4 to Year 6 on the field. Please review the zone set up on the screen. This is also included in the rules and regulations. Supporting our umpires. Umpires play a key role in the successful delivery of community football. All team players, officials, parents and spectators are expected to adhere to a zero-tolerance stance against any form of umpire abuse or official abuse. This includes verbal dissent, intimidation or disputing of decisions. Just like players, our umpires are also learning and need our full support. Only the team manager may approach an umpire during breaks in the match. They may not question decisions, interpretations, or question the free kick count. By supporting our umpires, you play a vital role in developing the highest quality of umpires. The Parent Umpire program is designed to educate parents new to junior football as the modified AFL competition. The Parent Umpire program also helps reduce game day environment issues. The Parent Umpire program will be running across all districts in the Year 3 competitions, the Year 4 competitions and the 3-4 female competitions. Please speak with your club registrar should you have any queries. Each team is to provide one parent umpire for every game in Year 3 and 4s. The qualified parent umpire from both teams umpire the game together for the entirety. The WAFC recommends having multiple volunteers qualified as parent umpires. However, if you find you do not have a parent umpire for a game, please speak with your club registrar who will provide assistance. Should you be unable to find a parent umpire, then either both coaches may umpire as a last resort. In these situations, the coach must remain impartial and not permitted to coach for the entirety of the game. Year 5s and 6s will have district appointed umpires. If you do have any feedback for umpires, this should be given to your club president or registrar, who will pass the information on to the WAFC umpiring department. Remember that all umpires are still learning, so only constructive and non-emotional feedback will be accepted. Season information. If you have not already been advised, round 1 will begin on the weekend of the 26th to the 28th of April. We will have bye rounds over the June long weekend and July school holidays. Round 14 will be our last round of ordinary fixtures, as modified age groups do not play in finals. We hope to have the first 5 rounds of fixtures available as close to the 17th of April as possible, while the remaining fixtures will be released in early June. If your team is unavailable for a fixture game, please contact your registrar to request a fixture change. Special rounds. This season we will have the following special rounds acknowledged. Round 3 is Umpire Appreciation Round, where we acknowledge the vital role umpires play in our game. Round 8 is Socket to Sarcoma Round, where we raise much awareness and much needed funds for an important cause by wearing odd socks and donating gold coins. Round 9 and Round 10 is our NAIDOC District Dreaming Rounds. This is a celebration of Indigenous culture and an acknowledgement of the contributions from both Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australians to our great game. Round 12 is our Thank a Volunteer Round, where we celebrate all the volunteers who contribute to our kids being able to play the game they love. Game information. Match duration for modified age competitions are 15-minute quarters for all ages. All age groups also have the same length of breaks, with 3 minutes for quarter time, 8 minutes for half time and 3 minutes for three-quarter time. Please remember to stick to these times to ensure games later than yours are not delayed. Game day procedures. Prior to game day, you will need to log in to your PlayHQ Managers portal and create your team sheet. Please ensure your team sheet has the name of all players who will be playing and their jumper number. If a player is listed and then does not play, please place a line through their name on the paper team sheet and later remove them from the electronic team sheet. In an even up situation, please also list the opposition players' names and jumper numbers who are playing for your team on your team sheet. You will also need to indicate which quarter the player has played for your team. If you're unable to select a player on your team sheet, please speak to your club registrar, as playing an ineligible player can result in penalties for the team. Some clubs' registrars print off the team sheets for their managers, so please refer to your club for the correct processes. Your team sheet will also need to have the name of your coach, runner, team manager, and first aider and goal umpire, and the interchange steward. 2 team sheets need to be given to the umpire at the beginning of the game. At the conclusion of the game, 1 team sheet will be returned to you. Each club has different procedures for this team sheet, so please refer to your club for direction on how the team sheet is to be stored. Please note those with parent umpires will receive both copies back. As mentioned earlier, each team in all competitions from Year 3 to 12 are required to run the Interchange app for every game. While it may not seem important to use the app when you have no bench, the competitions teams use the report not only to show rotations but also as a backup team sheet, to show injuries sustained to players and to ensure players awarded with yellow cards have been sent off for the required 15 minutes. Please help your interchange steward by ensuring all players' names are listed as well as their jumper number prior to the game. We recommend having a couple of additional player profiles set up, which you can use in an even up situation. On game days, please remember that as team manager, you are responsible for managing the team, volunteers, and parent group behaviour. In the event of any conflict issues, please take prompt action and work with the opposition team manager to de-escalate and resolve the situation. Under no circumstances is a team manager able to enter the field of play whilst the game is running. Any conflicts on the field are dealt with by the umpires. Penalties for encroachment range from 4 to 16 weeks suspensions. On game days, please ensure you're introducing yourself to the opposition team manager and the umpires. Provide your umpire with 2 copies of your team sheet, ensure a ground inspection report is completed, and have enough scorecards as required. The home team manager is responsible for providing the game ball, while the opposition team should have a spare ball in case it is needed during the game. During the game, it is vitally important to know that the coach's box is only for those volunteers participating in the game. Additionally, players who are not playing in the game should not be sitting in the coaching box. The interchange area is a space available for your interchange steward and timekeeper or scorer. Please note that the interchange steward is able to leave that area and approach the coach's box to provide updates on rotations to the coach. As team manager, you are also permitted to be in the interchange area if needed. If you are new to junior football and unaware where the coach's box or interchange area is, this can be obtained from the rules and regulations on the WA Football website. Post-game procedures. At the conclusion of the game, please seek out your umpires to receive your team sheets back. Please be aware that umpires may be located at the side of the ground or located in the change rooms, and your patience as they complete their post-game paperwork is appreciated. Following the game, each club has different protocols for who enters the scores and updates players list. Some clubs have team managers update this information, while other clubs have a designated volunteer to complete this task. Please seek guidance from your club as to which process you are to follow. If you are entering scores, please ensure the results accurately reflect what the umpire has written on the team sheets. Additionally, you will need to ensure that the iPad connects to Wi-Fi and upload your interchange report to the cloud. Once in the cloud, the competitions team will be able to view the report. If you have had any game day issues or need to provide umpire feedback, please speak to your club representative such as registrar or president. Please also ensure that PlayHQ is updated with players who have played that day to ensure their game count is correct as they go through their seasons. Conflict resolution framework. If there are any game day issues, a conflict resolution is available to be used which effectively escalates match day disputes. Please report any incidents of poor behaviour or sportsmanship to your club. Your club president will then make contact with the opposition club president and attempt to resolve the dispute. If and when needed, the WAC competitions team will then be notified of the incident and any resolution achieved. Thank you for participating in today's Team Manager Bouncedown. Should you have any further queries, please contact your club registrar in the first instance. Please do not close this window, as you will now be redirected to a short assessment. We thank you for volunteering to take on the essential role of Team Manager for season 2024. We wish you a fun, safe and enjoyable season of football. Thank you.